Avi, and we'll get started. So welcome everybody to our fourth and final episode of Cooking with Friends. Thanks so much for being with us over these weeks. I hope everybody has enjoyed the shows. We're going to end on a sweet note tonight, starting with Avi Bear. Avi is a baker and a dog and cat food maker. He was born in Israel and he grew up in kibbutz Sdot Yam in Caesarea. He met and married his wife Karen in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1981, and he became a U.S. citizen in 1986. Avi attended Tadmor Culinary School in Israel, graduating first in his class. No surprise there. He specialized in pastry, and as a pastry chef, he opened his own pastry shop in Cincinnati in 1986. His company, Oven Art, Inc., has been in business now nearly 35 years. Avi met his lovely wife, Karen, and purchased a farm in Cynthiana in 1994. He moved his bakery and his family to Cynthiana in 1996, where they have made their home and are very active in the local community. In fact, Avi is the chairman of the Maysville Community and Technical College Board of Directors and a longtime member of the Cynthiana Rotary Club. In addition to his baked goods, Avi also manufactures premium dog and cat food. The dog food is under the label Canine Correct Table Food for Dogs and Feline Correct for cats. He also produces freeze-dried oven snacks, which I cannot wait to try, as well as seasonings. And you can find those at the website Avi's Olives. Avi and Karen have two sons, Itai and Alon, and he's the proud Saba of 5 grandchildren. So Avi, I'm going to turn it over to you, and thank you so much for being here. It's absolutely wonderful to see you and Karen.
Well, thank you. My pleasure, Kaina. It's a really simple dessert to make, quick and easy, and usually it's a winner. So all you have to do, I think you have the recipe. You go to the store, you buy the Pepperidge Farm shells, you pre-bake them in the oven straight from a frozen state. Just follow the directions on the box, and when you bring them out, when they're still somewhat warm, you want to take the tops off and kind of scrape a little bit the inside of the shell to make more room for the cream. The cream, we put the recipe for a pot of cream for a non-dairy cream, but I'll tell you, you can make a note that you can actually make it also dairy by using half the amount instead of the coconut cream, to use heavy cream, and instead of the soy or almond milk, use just regular milk. And it's basically the same recipe, the same process. On the recipe that we sent you, I wrote 117 grams of sugar. You should probably use a little bit less. Just make it a half cup of sugar will be better, because the coconut cream is usually sweetened. So with that being said, all you have to do is take the milk. I guess you can see it. Pour it in a saucepan. Take the coconut cream and get that in. It's funny because I never do anything in that quantity, but It's usually in gallons and gallons of cream. But we'll make it work. And I hope you can see, we whisk it nice so it's mixed together real well. And we'll put that on the stove. And while it's on the stove, you weigh the sugar and the cornstarch in a bowl. You mix it really nice together. You crack the eggs. 2 eggs into it. And you mix it up and add the vanilla to it too. Mix it carefully into a paste. Karen is giving me direction here from the side. She's the director. You get a nice paste. It's smooth, so you broke the cornstarch, nice and smooth, and then you basically wait for the cream to get to temperature. And let's check that quickly. Oh, it's running. While this is happening, we'll take the already baked shells. Can you see them here? And we'll put a little bit of raspberry. Can you see the shells here? Yeah, let's put something underneath.
Yeah, we can see everything. Avi is perfect.
Oh, okay.
You wanna put this under it, kind of tip it a little bit?
The pre-baked shells. Put a little bit of raspberry or any kind of preserve that you want. In the shells. Should have done that earlier.
What other kinds of preserves do you like to put in there, Avi?
Strawberry, grape jelly, black raspberry, anything you want, any kind of preserve that you like. It goes apricot will be really good. And it should be ready for the cream. And by the way, on this recipe, I mean, if you're real heavy, I'm going to confuse you a little bit, but not too bad, is you can also make this cream into a chocolate cream. Just take good chocolate. Probably for this recipe, it's maybe 100 grams of chocolate, of a good dark chocolate. And at the end, when the cream is done, you can mix it into it and make it into a chocolate cream. And we'll check the stove quickly. It's almost done.
Avi, have you put something like a chocolate on the bottom? Leave the cream as just plain cream without the chocolate, but put something chocolate on the bottom?
The chocolate sauce on the chocolate ganache on the bottom, yeah, absolutely. Instead of, you can be as creative as you want to be with it.
All right, while we're waiting, tell us the ages of the grandkids.
Oh no, now I have to remember again. 1 year, 3 years, 7 years, 9, and 11.
And where are they?
Well, 2 of them are here in Cynthiana and the other are in Georgetown.
Oh, great, so close.
too far.
Wonderful.
And we love them. And as I told Gilson, my father always used to say that raising children is like having bees and grandchildren are the honey. And I tell you what, it is absolutely the truth. Okay. If you watch the, whoa, there's a fly here. We're having fun. The kids love to come here, and if I show up at their house without a cookie, they're not too happy. Oh, be careful. We got a fly in the house. That's unusual. That's kind of the story here, and we're having fun while we're doing it. I better move to the stove now. Yeah, Karen is going to move it, try to move it with me. Yeah, that's good. Step a little bit back so it gets it. As the cream is close to boil, you take a ladle and you want to warm up the sugar and egg mixture. Build it a little bit here. Make it liquidy and warm, so when we add it to the boiling, it'll mix in really, really good and fast. Okay, and I bring it back to boil. And as soon as it starts to boil, yeah, I just pour in the mixture.
So you tempered the eggs, right? Is that what you did?
Exactly. And then we mix it continuously. You don't want to stop or it'll burn on the bottom. I didn't prepare a bowl. And it gets thicker and thicker. And it's almost, you can kind of feel it gets thicker and thicker, and then kind of stop for a second. You see if it's bubbling. If it's not, just continue a little bit longer.
So is it like a custard consistency?
Yeah, it's basically it's a custard. And like I say, you can use, here it's beginning to boil. You see a little, at the moment it starts bubbling, you turn off the fire. And go back to the place where
We'd love to see your director Karen on camera after too, so we can say hi.
we pour it into another bowl. Let's stop the cooking. We let it cool just a little bit, you know, for a few minutes. I speak loud, okay. And you can either pour it hot or this is a little bit cool quite a bit more. But
Can you tilt your screen down some? Thank you.
You fill up the shells with the cream. You get the idea. And well, you get the idea. We don't have to do all of it now, but after you do that, you can decorate them with anything you want.
So could you do like a lemon custard inside?
You can. The problem, actually, with this cream, you can flavor it with lemon flavoring to make it lemon or orange. Really, any flavor you want to. It's not a problem. And any fruits or strawberries, if you have, to cut them nicely. And then if you want, you can dust them a little bit. And you have a dessert. Now, honestly, to serve this dessert warm is probably it's really a nice warm dessert. You can refrigerate it and serve it chilled, but it tastes a lot better when it is warm. Just a little bit there.
So you serve it right now. So you would
You can
feel
serve
it.
it right now.
So you'd fill it right before you want to serve it.
You can do it, or you can fill it before dinner and just leave them out so it's in a room temperature.
That's beautiful.
You get more of the flavor, and it's just a nice thing.
That's beautiful.
It's easy.
Avi, can you take one out and hold it for us and just? Beautiful.
All right.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Does anybody have any questions for Avi before he goes and feeds the animals?
Looks gorgeous. Thank you.
When am I getting this delivery?
Yeah, are you delivering any dessert anymore, Avi?
I'm sorry?
Are you doing any more desserts for delivery to restaurants?
Yeah, we still do. Actually, we have some things we actually deliver to Martine's in Lexington. But we still do. We do mostly in Cincinnati, Jungle Gym, and some restaurants, and a few up north. And of course, here in Cynthiana at the Burley Market, it's a nice new cafe place.
Anybody else have questions for Avi?
Yes. What do you take to Martine's? I'll definitely head that way.
Martine's, she has our eclairs and key lime tarts. At different times. And Martine's is a really nice place and real good people.
For sure. Karen, are you going to jump in so we can say hi?
Hi.
Thank you both. It's so good to see both of you.
Great to see you.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Karen.
What a treat. I know what I'm making tomorrow.
I know. We'll look so professional.
You all stay safe, healthy, and have
Thank
a good,
you, and you-
good evening.
You
And
too.
you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. So lucky for y'all, you don't have to follow at Avi's baking, but I do. So you all know me, so and I've done my introduction before, so I won't bore you with that unless you have some questions. But I am going to do a dessert called Date Dandy. And it comes from this cookbook. As you can see, I'm sure all of you have a cookbook like this. This is called the Sephardic Cook, and it's from the Orve Shalom congregation in Atlanta, Georgia. And so this, I have my own edition, but this was my mom's. And so it's got all the little notes in it, and stuff is constantly falling out in her handwriting, which is absolutely fabulous. But anyway, so this is from the Sephardic Cook's Cookbook. It is kind of like a cross between a brownie and cake. And it uses dates, and it's really yummy, and it's just something different to do sometimes if you don't want to do a brownie. So basically, can you see my stuff here? Okay, so in this bowl, I've got sifted flour, baking powder, and cinnamon. And then inside that, I'm hoping you can see this, are the chopped dates. And so you use seedless dates, of course, and you chop them up. And then I've tossed them so you can, I hope you can see, so that there's flour all around the dates and they don't stick together. So I basically just toss it with my fingers and just make sure there are no big clumps of dates stuck together. And then what we're going to do, my oven is already preheated to 350. So then what we're going to do are I'm going to add a cup of chopped pecans to the date and flour mixture, and I'm going to just toss that around. All over my counter. All right, so I've got the nuts and the dates in the flour mixture at this point. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to use a hand mixer to mix 3 eggs with a half a cup of sugar, I believe. You're going to get yeah. So I'm going to do that. So just put it on low and just mixing that together. And when that's nice and mixed, I'm going to add the vanilla. And then I'm going to go in for the upper extremity workout. So basically, the upper extremity workout is where I take the liquid ingredients, I put them in another bowl, so I have a lot of room to work with. And I love the way that Evelyn Block made sure that every ounce of everything was out of the bowls when she was cooking. So I'm doing the same thing. And then I'm gonna gradually add these dry ingredients to the wet, incorporating it each time. And what's gonna happen is, has everybody made an apple cake before? If you've ever made an apple cake, you know how stiff the batter gets. And this is going to be very, very similar, because it's going to be a high ratio of dates and nuts to the dry ingredients. And so each time I'm making sure before I add more flour that I don't see any specks of white. So it's starting to really thick up. I got one more exercise. And then over to my left, when I get all this incorporated, I have a greased 7x11. The original recipe calls for a 7.5 by 11.5, which I have never seen. So I don't know if that's something they brought back from the old country. And then my mother's notes say that she uses a 9x9. And as much as I love my mother, she's a fantastic cook, I feel like they would be too cakey, because it's just not enough room. All right, so there's the dough, pretty stiff. And I'm gonna pile it into this greased Pyrex. Plus, I don't know, sometimes I look at these recipes and I think, they weren't using a lot of Pyrex. They were using a lot of aluminum, and those kinds of things can make a difference. But what this feels like, honestly, when you get it put it in the pan, is almost like a fudge, but it is going to be cakier after it cooks. And so I just want to make sure that it's spread evenly and that I've got the corners filled, just like you would do if you were making any kind of a blondie or a brownie or anything like that. Just smooth it out. And it's really mostly dates and nuts held together with a batter. And so that's what it looks like. I will put it in the oven for 30 minutes. And the most important thing is not to overcook it, because if you overcook it, so this is not something that you would want to do the toothpick test on, because it's going to be moist, because it's got dates in it. So 30 minutes, if you overcook it, it'll get too dry. And then after, cut it to squares, and you put a little powdered sugar on top. And that's what it looks like. So here's a batch I did yesterday. And they're really good. I mean, because it's a kind of it's not too sweet, even though it's got the sugar in there. It doesn't have much sugar by comparison to other kinds of bars. And it's just different because, it's dates and nuts. So that's it. So
It looks delicious.
and
And
it's
I love
good.
the powdered sugar.
I'll bring you some. So unmute yourself and we can chit chat, but I know we're not going to sit here for 30 minutes while my date dandy cooks.
That looks fabulous.
Oh, good. We'll give it a try. It's fun.
How did you chop the dates? Because they can be quite sticky.
They're very sticky, but I just use a board, Ricky, and a really good knife, and I take 3 or 4 at a time, and I just cut them into thirds and plop them in a 2-cup measuring cup, glass measuring cup, and kind of squish it down so that when I measure the cups, it's pretty close to 2 cups. And then I just dump them in the sifted flour mixture and then just start tossing. And it really, it's even though they're really sticky, it's not too bad.
Have
And
you
it's
tried?
like that would be a pretty big hunk if you're just doing a third of the day.
So for a day, I cut it into thirds. So
Right.
some of them are so soft that that they kind of mush. So it's really not, I was gonna see. So can you see the date? So, I mean, so tonight, I thought I cut these a little big. So tonight I cut them a little bit smaller into thirds. Freeze is okay.
When you cut the dates, have you tried wetting the knife first, or does that make the date too wet?
I thought I was gonna need to do that, but I didn't. It was not that bad. Even though they're sticky, it really wasn't bad.
Okay.
And would chocolate chips be good with this mixed in?
Yeah, I think you could do chocolate chips, Ricky. I think the only thing would be you might want to cut the nuts in half and then do the other half. So a half a cup of nuts, a half a cup of chocolate chips. Otherwise, it would be so thick, I don't know. Right? So, and then you could kind of eyeball it and see. But you saw how thick that was. It's very much like an apple cake. It's very stiff. And so I think you could very easily do that.
I like the idea of shredded coconut.
Oh, that would be really good. That would be really good. Yep. And I think it might even be good, if you wanted to go all out, to leave off the powdered sugar and do like a maple glaze on top, a maple sugar glaze, like you do on an apple cake. Something about the maple and dates appeals to me. So, anybody else?
I'm getting hungry.
Me too.
And
I
you
know.
make it look so easy.
Well, it is. That's actually an easy recipe.
It's simple, yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you, Gilson, for taking this idea and running with it. It's been amazing.
I think it's been fun.
I've learned a lot.
Great fun. And
I love-
everybody has been entertaining. And thanks to Kathy Grossman as well for helping put this together. It's been great.
Really,
Well, it's been my pleasure.
Daniel, thank you.
And thanks, Daniel, for your help. And thank y'all for faithfully coming each week.
Thanks
And,
for having us. Thanks for doing it.
And listen, we are anxious to hear about some more ideas for programming like this, because it's just fun to be with everybody and learning a new skill. And we are wide open to suggestions. So reach out to any of us. And the problem is when you make a suggestion like this, you know what happens. You end up like Gilson having to run the show. But we'll try to be gentle with you. If you make a suggestion, it doesn't mean we're going to make you do it. But we do want to hear from you. So thank you.
Thank y'all so much, everybody. And take good care of yourselves. And I hope to see y'all soon in another JFB program.
This has been great. Thank you so much.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
Bye, Pamela.
Good to
Bye,
see you,
Gilson.
Pamela.
You too.